If you've ever experienced invalidation or spiritual injury the way I have, then chances are you've learned to squash what's important to you. Rehabilitating your inner voice could be the best gift you could ever give yourself. So, how can you get back to the real you, back to an inner voice you can trust? In today's video, we're going to talk about finding your inner voice because it probably has a lot to say about whatever challenges you may be facing right now. So, stay tuned. Well, hi there and welcome. My name is Remy, like Do Re Mi. I'm a best-selling author and creator of the Get Unstuck Revolution. I help extraordinary women with big-ass dreams just like you who want to get unstuck from a life that doesn't work and get to where you know you need to be, into a life that's filled with passions and purpose. Now let's get started with today's episode. Okay, let me jump off the screen here and change over to my laptop. Today, we're finding your inner voice and taking back the real you, back to an inner voice you can trust. We are multifaceted individuals, but when part of you wants this and part of you wants that, it can be confusing to find a coherent direction or make a smart decision sometimes. Sometimes we end up screaming to the heavens, just tell me what to do, because we feel like we're wearing blacked out glasses. This is one of the most common questions I get is how to find my real voice, or how can I get back to the real authentic me so that I can find my success that seems to be so elusive. So if you aren't getting the success you want in full abundance, however you identify with success, and if you're wanting to tap into a greater knowingness and align with higher frequencies so that you can attract the success you're craving no matter what's happening around you, then this episode is for you. Let's open up to our hidden power and create something unimaginable, something totally unreasonable, something that maybe even seems impossible to kick your whole life and all your success into high gear for whatever success means for you. Today, I'm going to try and get you one step closer. As business owners, change makers, thought leaders, innovators, disruptors, or even if we haven't found the right fit in the world yet, whether we're talking about our relationships at home or at work, or when we're talking about our finances, sometimes we find ourselves in these little challenges that seem to move us away from success. So how do we overcome this? How can we find the clarity and courage we need so that we can unlock our hidden power? Well, it's time to be unabashedly, unapologetically, happily untethered to the ego thinking, ours or someone else's, that can sabotage our success. It's time to tap into our soul connection instead so we can broadcast our hidden power from the hilltops and advance our soul's agenda. Today's episode is for you if you wonder how to find your inner voice or how to listen to what your inner voice wants you to know, how to distinguish between the voice of ego and the voice of your soul, how to overcome doubts, that nagging voice that seems to say to stay stuck in indecision. Yes, these episodes are about how to find your hidden power when you want to transform challenges into successes. I like to call it the audacity of alchemy. Because when we're feeling stuck, it's never the situation that has us stuck. It's our energy that's become stuck in doubts, worries, frustrations, indecision that can come from life's challenges, especially because of a spiritual injury we've experienced, some kind of a hidden trauma that's interrupting our soul's work. We can dissolve the obstacles in our path with a simple shift in energy. We can get out of doubt and move on with our life because our choice of frequency changes the course of our journey so that we don't get stuck in the negative vibrations that block our success. These positive energies that we talk about so much are where we find the magic of alchemy. And using our hidden power means using these positive energies to effect transformation. You know, if you've ever experienced invalidation or spiritual injury, then chances are you've learned to squash what's important to you. Rehabilitating that inner voice could be the best gift you could ever give yourself. So I have a technique for you today that can take all those different parts of you and put it into a real voice. You know, we're multifaceted individuals, but when part of you wants this and part of you wants that, whether it's Mexican food and Italian food or what to do in different parts of your business, boy, it can be confusing to find a coherent direction or make a smart decision sometimes. We have a moral compass, and sometimes that's all we need to make a sound decision. But in a complex challenge, sometimes a compass alone, it isn't enough. When one of these complex challenges emerge, there's an opportunity to develop ourselves, to become more authentic, and to get more and more clear about what we want. And so, this is one of the most common questions I get: how to find my real voice, or how can I get back to the real, authentic me? Recently we did an episode called Your Inner Board of Directors about a month or so ago. And we started by identifying who might be on your inner board of directors, and your inner genius went right at the top of the list. And then we looked at your five strongest personality traits and gave each one of them a position on your inner board. We looked at traits like your inner optimist, that part of you that's a social connector or someone who wants to connect with spirit. We also looked at maybe your inner persuader, your intuition, maybe your strategist, your visualizer, your inner power babe, that sort of thing. And so the warning here is that our strongest personality trait is often our filter. And when we look through this filter, we often look for what's wrong. And looking at what's wrong can trigger negative ego thinking. So that's why we're identifying or labeling these different parts of ourselves so that we can disallow ego thinking, which is often the part of us that speaks first and speaks the loudest. Remember, ego thinking is the part of us that speaks first and speaks the loudest. So that's why we're separating out our strengths and defining them. It will help us to slow down our thoughts and keep ego from playing on the monkey bars inside of our brains. Now, we looked at a current challenge that you're having back in that other episode. It was called Your Inner Board of Directors. We looked at a current challenge that you're having, knowing that you can open a dialogue with each of these different strengths, these different parts of yourself, simply by journaling with them. Sometimes it isn't that easy to find answers specifically. Sometimes this process helps you to find the right questions that can then lead you to the right answers. And so, of course, it's natural to want to be your own personal CEO and follow your own inner genius so that you aren't giving decisions away to someone or something else, especially not to people who are invalidating you. And you surely don't want your ego making decisions. But when we face a doubt or frustration, when we need to consult our inner board of directors, it's usually because we aren't being the CEO, or we would have been able to resolve the challenge already, right? So remember, your inner board isn't something or someone else. You aren't worshiping false idols or anything weird like that. It's still you, just maybe not the part of you that you're used to listening to. But it really does help you develop personally as your own CEO. Which brings me to another point. Changing to this way of decision making may not feel normal at first, and there's a reason for that. Even though we may not mean to, most people's natural instincts are to fight for the status quo. Now, this is interesting because subconsciously we work to keep things as they are, even if they aren't the way we want them to be. Crazy, right? So, where does status quo fit in? Well, I'll put a diagram up here on the screen for you. It helps to look at the universe as sort of a continuum. There's expansion or growth on one end, and then on the other end is contraction, the opposite of growth, which would be shrinkage or getting smaller on the other end. And status quo, it sits right there in the middle, meaning that when you're at status quo, you aren't growing, you're stagnating. And what holds us in that place of stagnation are our doubts and frustrations. But here's the thing. Sometimes those doubts or frustrations are simply your best self, that part of you that wants to grow and change and asking you to do something about it. That's where the doubts and frustrations are coming from, and that's where we can use them to our advantage. Sometimes your doubts or frustrations are simply your best self, that part of you that wants to grow and change, asking you to do something about it, to do something differently. Now, before we go deeper about finding your own voice and why you should listen to that inner voice and what to do when you just feel like screaming to the heavens, just tell me what to do, because those next action steps just don't seem to be clear. I just want to give you a quick reminder about our workshops. If you already know that you're ready to dissolve life's obstacles that are on your path to success, if you already know that you're ready to do your soul's work and be a creator, then you might be ready for this amazing new tool to get you moving into some better patterns and frequencies where success can find its way to you. It's called the Alchemy Matrix, and it's going to help you, as they say, create your destiny. It's an interactive roadmap designed to help you solve problems, dissolve barriers, heal spiritual injuries, and just bring in a lot of clarity so you can create a future that you'd like to see. Just a brief reminder that you can sign up to learn more about the Alchemy Matrix at successcircleworkshops.com. I promise to tell you more about that in a minute. So we were talking about how our Doubts and frustrations are sometimes our best self, the part of us that wants us to grow and change. Yes, our doubts and frustrations can sometimes represent our very best self if we know how to pose the right questions to get the right answers. So, this is a good time to put the spice on what we've covered so far. You can create your own board of directors based on your 5 or 10 greatest strengths. These are the strengths you already have inside of you. Just take a look and see that real quickly. And be sure and make a list of your own strengths. I'm giving you some examples here on the screen. And then once you've identified your 5 or your 10 greatest strengths, then go back and review any challenge that you're experiencing right now and just see if any of these strengths can be used to propel you toward a solution on that challenge. Now, what you would do is literally write your challenge down on a piece of paper and then dialogue with each of your strengths, asking them for their insights about the challenge, and then take note about what they each have to say. And this is a process that will help you find your own voice. Write down your challenge on a piece of paper and then dialogue with each of your 5 or your 10 strengths, however many you want to dialogue with, asking each of them separately for insights about this challenge, and then take a note of what they each have to say. This process will help you to find your own voice. Now, you can do this in a slightly meditative state, or you could do this with a friend. And once in a while, you'll run across a part of you that really has a lot to say about a particular situation, one inner voice that really wants to step forward and just be on the megaphone. So be prepared to take notes or to record your thoughts just by having your smartphone nearby with its little voice recorder app, which is what I often do. Because then I'm downloading a stream of consciousness that if I don't record it immediately as it's happening, it could be edited and scrubbed by my own conscious thoughts. It could be edited and scrubbed by my own ego. And that's why I like to record it as it's happening, capturing it word for word. So for me, I'd rather record a stream of consciousness from my own inner genius, direct from the horse's mouth, if that makes sense. So here's what I like to do. If I have a situation that's bothering me, I simply journal all the questions I can think of about that situation. All the questions, all of them. I write them all down, all the questions that could possibly be inside my brain and my heart. You know, I even have a client who pretends that she's about to go before an angel council, as if she had a checkpoint every year, some kind of a mastermind with them once a year, where she could just go commune with all of her angels and ask all of the questions on her mind. So there's a lot of flexibility with this process. So write down all your questions, and what I like to do is write them each on a separate slip of paper. And then I find a place to relax where I can go into a bit of a relaxed state, like my beanbag chair. And I just focus on one question at a time, just one slip of paper at a time. And then next to me, I have a set of index cards, and I have a different board member on each card, a different one of my personal strengths on each card. And in rotation, I ask each question to each board member. And when something juicy comes up, I record it directly into my smartphone. So this is a technique that my clients also love to help them find their truest inner voice, that part of them that holds pure genius. And this way, you're not just at the effect of the mind chatter that can be so confusing and so overwhelming and can just be all knotted up. This way, you're separating out different ideas and different insights and different perspectives from different parts of you, one at a time. Now, I get a lot of questions about life purpose, and so you can also use this technique to get more clarity about your life's purpose or what to do next on your life's journey. You can ask what your purpose is, or you can even ask how to use your best purpose or your God-given talents to serve others. You can ask how you can develop it, or you can also ask how to expand it. You do this every day for a number of days, and boy, you might be surprised what comes up. I literally had someone tell me that he had been anointed to work with men who felt trapped behind the white picket fence of someone else's dreams. Pretty amazing. So when you combine your passions, your values, your most natural positive energies, which all come together to form a group, your inner board of directors, you're putting a focus on finding that inner voice. Now, if you can develop the discipline to keep your focus only on who you are and who you're becoming, the old habits of ego thinking and looking at what's wrong will melt away. Let me say that again. If you can develop the discipline to keep your focus only on who you are and who you're becoming, the old habits of looking at what's wrong will melt away. You'll be able to meet your challenges with creative solutions, or at the very least, uncover the right questions that lead you to the right answers. When something is going wrong in your life, there's a reason for it. Maybe somewhere along the way, you went against your true self or made a wrong decision that violated who you are at your core. And so that challenging situation is what you're facing today. But these doubts and frustrations and other negative energies can also be used. They may actually be encouraging you to clarify who you are and what you stand for. These negative energies that you may be experiencing can help you see who you're becoming. Only when we access all of that amazing energy can we really evolve into who we're meant to be. We just have to give it all a voice. And in doing so, we find our true voice. Look, we all hit into stormy weather from time to time, and some storms are gloomier than others, and we're going to approach each one differently. We can go through the storm, around the storm, or over the storm, but the answer is always there, always. Our strength, our energy, our passion helps us to seek and to find what we need, and there's something special in all of us. Our job is to find out what that is and play to that strength. So keep working on identifying those strengths and those energies that exist within you. Now, I have one final note. When you access all these different parts of you that make up your own inner voice, when you pinpoint all those separate parts of yourself and give them their shining moment in the sun, the experience may be a little overwhelming. And there's a reason for this. You have a lot more inside of you than you know about. And doing these exercises may introduce you to strengths you never knew you had. Now, possibly the onset of this power may rip away at your reality, your security, your beliefs, and everything you thought you understood, but it's your power. So trust yourself. It can be scary, but it's so important to embrace those strengths and celebrate them as a part of you. More than anything, you should never be afraid of your greatness, and you shouldn't try to keep it in check by keeping your barometer low. When you do experience doubts, examine them closely and dialogue with them. It may be an important doubt that's protecting you from danger about making a mistake, but it may also be a silly doubt that's holding you back from achieving true greatness, finding true love, or discovering your true passion. Trust your inner voice and you'll follow the right path by disallowing ego thinking and identifying your strengths and your different energies, like your inner genius, your inner strategist, or maybe even your inner power babe. You'll be able to flesh out a crystal clear vision about what your path looks like and the right direction. And this happens like magic when you no longer have doubt. Make sense? When you no longer have doubt, your personalized path appears. And that's my $1 million tip on how to live effortlessly and in the right direction so that the universe rewards you. The road to abundance and prosperity is paved with passions and positive energies. And when you can remove all doubt and frustration from your universe, that personalized path for you appears. So here's your exercise for today. First, on a piece of paper, I'd like you to write down a challenge that you're currently experiencing. And then second, identify your 5 or your 10 greatest strengths. Next, dialogue with each one in a journal, asking them for their insights. And then lastly, review what you've journaled and narrow it down to a paragraph or so. This is your inner voice, the part of you that holds pure genius about who you are, who you're becoming, or it might even ask you the questions that lead you to the right answers. If you've ever experienced invalidation or spiritual injury, then chances are you've learned to squash what's important to you. And so rehabilitating that inner voice, it could be the best gift you could ever give yourself. When life presents one of these complex challenges, there's an opportunity to develop ourselves, to become more authentic and to get more and more clear about who we are and what we want. When we stop looking at what's going wrong and start accessing these positive energies that make up who we are, man, it's life-changing. So remember, your choice of frequency can change the course of your journey. And that's why we like to look towards these positive, life-affirming frequencies. And so that's your exercise for today as we create a flow of positive possibilities to fulfill your soul's work and the growth and awakening that your soul is seeking. And we create that flow for your success. All that's required from you is a shift in frequency, because your choice of frequency can change the course of your journey. And the shift toward a higher frequency is really what the spiritual awakening journey is all about in so many respects. Well, I hope this helps you as you're using the powers of alchemy to transform challenges and obstacles into positive new successes. But if you still can't get your head around what's got you stuck, you can tell me about it. You can leave a question right here. Or if you're someone who has the audacity, the willingness to take bold risks to transform challenges into success, you can find out more about our events at successcircleworkshops.com. This is where you can learn more about the audacity of alchemy and how to unlock your hidden power. You'll get a personalized interactive roadmap that's custom designed to get you unstuck by unlocking your hidden power to create big, magical changes. Alchemy. You'll learn to solve problems, dissolve barriers, and bring success to you. So don't wait. Go to successcircleworkshops.com and get your personalized alchemy matrix package right now. And here's what you'll get: a full color workbook filled with hands on exercises to inspire your creative energies, membership in your very own success circle for high level masterminding and networking, your very own customized alchemy matrix to unlock your hidden power and bring success to you, and your very own personal unstuckologist. Remember, the Alchemy Matrix is the only tool of its kind, and it's only available here. So if you're ready to approach your life's challenges with audacity, if you're ready to finally banish frustration, indecision, and the negative spiral, if you're ready to watch success materialize right before your eyes, then go to successcircleworkshops.com and get your personalized Alchemy Matrix package now and watch the magic start to happen. Thanks for joining me today, and I'm wishing you a life filled with all the alchemy you need to bring success to you. Feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck, and I look forward to seeing you in one of our upcoming success circles. You can find out more at successcircleworkshops.com.